Prince Andrew, you're accused of being involved in a worldwide pedo ring, and were even seen at a party with one of the victims 10 years ago. What do you have to say for yourself?
Nonsense. That couldn't have been me. I was at a pizza party at the time, you see. If you're new to the Epstein story, you should watch my video of the scandal, link in the description. However, Prince Andrew of the UK has stepped down from public duties recently, following a dreadful performance in an interview regarding his involvement in that story. So before we look at the interview, let's look at what has been revealed about him so far. Andrew was friends with Ghislaine Maxwell before he met Epstein. He will refer to her in the interview as Epstein's girlfriend. And at no point will anyone mention that she was trafficking children as much as Epstein was. We have at least 2 other women who came out saying they were minors when Andrew was sexually abusing them. There is also the massage mattress. Court documents and police reports determine that getting a massage was code for having sex with a minor. And Andrew is involved with at least one additional girl, if not more, via these massages. And that's just what we know so far, without any specific investigation into Prince Andrew himself. So, what does this 49-minute interview show us?
All of this goes back to your friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. How did you first become friends? How did you meet?
Well, I met through his girlfriend back in 1999, and I'd known her since she was at university in the UK. And it would be, to some extent, a stretch to say that as it were, we were close friends. I mean, we were friends because of other people. And I had a lot of opportunity to go to the United States, but I didn't have much time with him. I suppose I saw him once or twice a year, perhaps maybe maximum of 3 times a year.
Not close. Had other contacts. Really penciled in how many times you saw him every year. I guess this interview could have started off worse.
Quite often, if I was in the United States and doing things, and if he wasn't there, he would say, well, why don't you come and use my houses? So I said, that's very kind, thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, I always let my not close friends use my mansions.
But he had the most extraordinary ability to bring extraordinary people together.
That's called trafficking, sir.
You were perceived by the public as being the party prince. Was that something you
I
shared?
think that's also a bit of a stretch. I don't know why I've collected that title, because I never have really partied. But then after I got married, I was very happy, and I've never really felt the need to go and party. And certainly going to Jeffrey's was not about partying. Absolutely not.
Yeah, who has time for a party when you're going to have a massage? I love that face when he says, party. Like, what's that? What's a party? Those filthy middle-class things people do? Oh, no, I don't know what that is. Totally unrelated. You look pretty coked out here, dashing away from this nightclub with an unbuttoned shirt. I wasn't partying, I was late for tea.
He was your guest as well. In 2000, Epstein was a guest at Windsor Castle and at Sandringham. He was brought right into the heart of the royal family at your invitation.
But certainly at my invitation, not at the royal family's invitation. But remember that it was his girlfriend that was the key element in this. He was the, as it were, plus one to some extent.
Yeah, but his girlfriend was also a massive sex trafficker. I wouldn't expect the BBC to report that since she's a local Englander, and just like Seville, reporting UK pedos doesn't meet their standards.
Am I right in thinking you threw a birthday party for Epstein's girlfriend, Ghislaine Maxwell, at Sandringham?
No, it was a shooting weekend.
No, because just as I've said, I've never heard of this thing you call party, you see. We shoot animals from horses instead. You wouldn't understand.
We now know that he was and had been procuring young girls for sex trafficking.
You have to remember that at the time, I was patron of the NSPCC's Full Stop campaign, so I was close up with what was going on in those time about getting rid of abuse to children. So I knew what the things were to look for, but I never saw them.
That's fucking incredible. Prince Andrew's actually trained to spot child abuse signs, possibly trafficking signs, visiting this guy's island, houses, many times. He's playing several times. He didn't see one thing. You know someone's guilty when they're forced to look stupider than a goddamn goldfish, rather than admit they're guilty. You may think this is the worst part. It's not.
In 2006, in May, an arrest warrant was issued for Epstein for sexual assault of a minor.
Yes.
In July, he was invited to Windsor Castle to your daughter, Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday. Why would you do that?
Because I was asking Ghislaine. But even so, at the time, I don't think certainly I wasn't aware when the invitation was issued what was going on in the United States. And I wasn't aware until the media picked up on it, because he never said anything about it.
So he came to that party knowing police were investigating him?
Well, I'm not quite sure. Was it police? I don't know. You see, this is the
It was
problem.
the Palm
I really
Beach
don't know.
police at the time.
He seems awfully concerned with getting all these stupid facts straight. Was it the police? Maybe it was just a private investigator. Or was it the Pope, perhaps? I can't go on record getting this kind of stuff wrong right after admitting that, despite being trained to do so. I didn't notice any signs of trafficking in the houses or the island or the private plane of the world's biggest trafficker. Let's be reasonable now.
He was released in July. Within months, by December of 2010, you went to stay with him at his New York mansion. Why? Why were you staying with a convicted sex offender?
Right. I have always, ever since this has happened, and since this has become, as it were, public knowledge that I was there, I've questioned myself as to why did I go, what was I doing, and was it the right thing to do? Now, I went there with the sole purpose of saying to him that because he had been convicted, it was inappropriate for us to be seen together.
Yes, just because he was convicted, not because actually what he did. That's irrelevant. I mean, you stayed there for a week, sir. You traveled across the ocean to break up with your friend who's not a close friend. Couldn't you text or email? Like, these days, people just stop talking. They don't even have any closure. But I guess he had to see him in person to burn the, talk about everything.
He threw a party to celebrate his release, and you were invited as the guest of honour.
Oh, in 2010? That certainly wasn't a party to celebrate his release in December, because it was a small dinner party. There were only 8 or 10 of us, I think, at the dinner. If there was a party, then I'd know nothing about that.
No, you're not listening. For the last time, he doesn't know what these dirty middle-class party things are. He has dinner and crumpets with not close friends who have been convicted of trafficking. There were 10 people gathered there for fun, but dear Lord, it wasn't a party. Andrew's really turning this interview around. Get your facts straight, BBC.
I'm just trying to work this out, because you said you went to break up the relationship, and yet you stayed at that New York mansion several days. I'm wondering how long...
But I was doing a number of other things while I was there.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Hey, come on now. You know how much it costs to get a hotel these days. He's the bloody Prince of England. You think he's made of money or something?
Because during that time, those few days, witnesses say they saw many young girls coming and going at the time. There is video footage of Epstein accompanied by young girls. And you were there staying in his house, catching up with friends.
If they were, I wasn't a party to any of that. I never saw them. I mean, you have to understand that his house, I described it more as almost as a railway station, if you know what I mean, in the sense that there were people coming in and out of that house all the time. What they were doing and why they were there, I had nothing to do with. So,
I mean, honestly, BBC, what do you expect of this guy? He's only trained to notice these things. How is a railway station's amount of minors shuffling around a secretive rich guy's house supposed to catch his eye? Like it's some kind of red flag. He only stayed at this house for, several days. How could he possibly know what was going on?
Do you regret the whole friendship with Epstein?
This is the part where you say no.
Now...
Boys fishing from a Nigerian prince would be more sensible than you.
Still not, and the reason being is that the people that I met and the opportunities that I was given to learn, either by him or because of him, were actually very useful.
These opportunities, I would love to learn about these opportunities he gave you. Do any of them perhaps have to do with sex with minors? Just wondering.
July of this year, Epstein was arrested on charges of sex trafficking and abusing dozens of underage girls. One of Epstein's accusers, Virginia Roberts, has made allegations against you. She says she met you in 2001. She says she dined with you, danced with you at Tramp nightclub in London. She went on to have sex with you in a house in Belgravia belonging to Ghislaine Maxwell, your friend. Your response?
I have no recollection of ever meeting this lady. None whatsoever. In fact, I'm convinced that I was never in trance with her. There are a number of things that are wrong with that story. One of which is that I don't know where the bar is in Tramps.
Well, that's a wrap, I think. I mean, he couldn't have possibly met her because he doesn't know where the bar is in the nightclub. He's directionally challenged, you see. No. That's perfectly related in sound. Come on.
I don't drink. I don't think I've ever bought a drink in Tramps.
How can you say you don't drink, but you're not even sure if you bought a drink or not?
Do you remember dancing at Tramp?
No. That couldn't have happened because the date that's being suggested, I was at home with the children. You
know that you were at home with the children. Was it a memorable night?
On that particular day that we now understand is the date, which is the 10th of March, I was at home. I was with the children. I'd taken Beatrice to a Pizza Express in Woking for a party at, I suppose, sort of 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Whoa, Andrew, hold the fuck up. I thought you don't do parties. I'm really blown away by how planned this answer sounds. Do you remember fucking a minor 10 years ago? Oh, no, I was at a pizza party that day, so it's obviously impossible. It was the only party I've ever been to, for God's sake. Of course I would remember this day.
She described dancing with you, and you profusely sweating, and that she went on to have bath, possibly...
There's a slight problem with the sweating, because I have a peculiar medical condition, which is that I don't sweat, or I didn't sweat at the time.
I definitely didn't fuck minors, guys. I don't even know where the bar is. Also, I was ingesting pizza, and my skin doesn't work. I lost my handkerchiefs 6 years ago. My tongue turns a little blue on Tuesdays, and my left foot cramps a bit when I enter the sunlight. So, yeah, there's absolutely no way I fuck sex days. I believe that clears up everything, yes?
and that was, oh, actually, yes, I didn't sweat at the time because I had suffered what I would describe as an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War when I was shot at. And I simply, it was almost impossible for me to sweat. And it's only because I have done a number of things in the recent past that I'm starting to be able to do that again. So I'm afraid to say that there's a medical condition that says that I didn't do it, so therefore.
I want to see this interview with his personal sweat trainer. Hello, I'm Epstein, and I train Prince Andrew how to repair his sweat glands because he needs to prepare for any future interviews where he debunks amazingly small, insignificant details of his victims' stories.
She provided a photo of the two of you together.
Yes.
How do you explain that?
I can't, because I have absolutely no memory of that photograph ever being taken. From the investigations that we've done, you can't prove whether or not that photograph is faked or not, because it is a photograph of a photograph of a photograph.
Yeah, I also often take photographs of photographs of photographs. That's not unbelievable at all. Please continue.
So it's very difficult to be able to prove it, but I don't remember that photograph ever being taken. I don't remember going upstairs in the house, because that photograph is taken upstairs. And I'm not entirely convinced.
I didn't go upstairs in that house, but I know how the upstairs looks so well that I can tell you that's the upstairs of that house in that picture that I've never seen before.
Oh, it's definitely me. And that's a picture of me. It's not a picture of. I don't believe it's a picture of me in London, because when I go out in London, I wear a suit and a tie. That's what I would describe as those are my travelling clothes if I'm going overseas. So I've got plenty of photographs of me dressed in those sorts of that sort of kit, but not there.
Yes, the picture is fake, you see, because I didn't wear my Prince uniform, and there's no way I would dress more casually in London to not be noticed while I go to fuck minors in my non-close friend's house.
Epstein's housekeeper, also in a Florida court legal deposition, said that you visited the Palm Beach residence around 4 times a year. You got a daily massage.
4 times a year?
That was what he said in a Florida court legal deposition.
No.
Joke's on you, BBC. Massage is a code word, remember? He had daily something. It just wasn't a massage, technically. You gotta acquit! You gotta acquit!
But you'd notice if there were hundreds of underage girls in Buckingham Palace,
God.
wouldn't you?
But you would notice if there were hundreds of underage girls in Jeffrey's house.
Apparently fucking that.
Not when I was there. Now, he may have changed his behaviour patterns in order for that not to be obvious to me.
Changes behavior patterns, like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I have no idea why this interview is considered a disaster.
I wonder if you have any sense now of guilt, regret or shame about any of your behaviour and your friendship with Epstein.
As far as Mr. Epstein is concerned, it was the wrong decision to go and see him in 2010. As far as my association with him was concerned, it had some seriously beneficial outcomes in areas that have nothing to do with what I would describe as what we're talking about today. On balance, could I have avoided ever meeting him? Probably not. And that's because of my friendship with Ghislaine.
Yeah, but his girlfriend was also a massive sex trafficker.
It was inevitable that we would have come across each other. Do I regret the fact that he has quite obviously conducted himself in a manner unbecoming? Yes.
Unbecoming? He was a sex offender?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm being polite, in the sense that he was a sex offender.
Man, he's so polite. See, guys? Sex offenders can't be polite, like this guy. And so, Prince Andrew walked away from this interview, back to his home with 2 daughters, who've not been trafficked, and will retire from public so no one spits in his face or cuts his head off. He'll likely never be investigated, and the victims will probably die without justice served. If you're shocked by this conclusion, then please let me know how you will investigate all the illegal activities of J-Bar in the comments below.